Um, I'm Eshan, and I'm here with a really good friend, Robert. Robert, do you want to say hi?
No. Hi.
Robert's been having camera issues. But I invited Robert to have a conversation with me, which is probably going to be a series of conversations around spirituality, mental health, and self-care. And I wanted to start off with Robert, and so our topic today is positive bias, positivity within spiritual practice, right? So this idea that spirituality is supposed to be when you start practicing clean, healthy, like really good, that you're not supposed to go through any awful feelings or deal with any shadow aspects. So, Robert, like, what do you think about that? About like, does does
Um,
spirit, does spirituality have to be like really positive all the time when you're practicing?
I I think that concept is to put it mildly, bullshit. Um, I think that I think there are a lot of things that people ascribe to spirituality that just don't fit, kind of thing. And I like to say that God doesn't care. And by that I mean God isn't concerned about every little freaking thing you do.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
I believe in an overriding spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, that holds us all, in this loving uh, envelope that gives us whatever it is we need for our spiritual path.
Hmm.
And sometimes that might be a little hardship,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
because if everything's going along, it's like people have this image of heaven as being all this sweetness and light and all the time and kind of thing. And when you think about it, that can get really boring,
Hmm. Hmm.
kind of thing. And in your life path, I think that um, the hardships that come, I grew up Baptist, and one of the things that I remember was that God never gives you more than you can handle.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that seems to go with my concept of this this spirituality that is holding us and allowing us to develop. And so it gives us what we need. So if I need a serious illness, and this has happened to me a couple of times in my life where, you know, it's almost like nature or the universe is saying to me, Robert, if you don't sit your ass down, I will knock you down so that you have to be still for a while.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. And so, I suddenly get pneumonia and can't go to work for 10 days.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, um, I end up with this weird lung thing that my doctor is telling me it's not common, and we don't know what causes it,
Hmm.
and we can treat it. So it's really just a damn nuisance, kind of thing. And before I get the diagnosis from the doctors, I'm thinking, oh my God, I've got cancer. Oh my
Hmm.
God, I need to do this. Oh my God, I need to do that, kind of thing. And it's all about this turning inside,
Hmm.
turning within to find what you need to take those next steps. Okay, so I think the role of hardship, disease, loss, all of those things, um, is really a push. Get out of the rut that you're in
Hmm.
and push through it.
Hmm.
Move to the next level.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
whether that's suddenly finding yourself laid off from a job, Okay. And now wondering, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to eat? How am I going to pay my rent? All of those things that pushes you to get out of that comfort zone that you've been in, okay, and to move to the next level, okay? There's a better job out there waiting for you, but if you stay where you are, okay, and obviously you were going to stay where you were, okay, because it's comfortable, it's secure, okay, but you need this next step. You need to move on to this next place because there are lessons there for you as well.
which
So,
which I think could be scary for a lot of people to think that their life is falling apart and then they have to make these changes because I think that the change process is really scary for folks.
right, that's right. If you think of mythology and the hero's quest, the hero is always moving into some danger, kind of thing. It's like, oh shit, I got to go fight this monster in order to
Right,
obtain,
right, right,
the sacred jewel
right,
kind of thing. But I got to get by this thing and I have to figure out how to do it, whether it's by brute strength or by, using my wits or whatever. But I have to pass beyond this fear to get to the next step,
right,
to finish the quest.
right.
So, I think, going back to that, spirituality, is like I loved during COVID hearing people say, and I know some of your listeners are going to think this is controversial, but I'm an old man and I really don't care. Okay. But you had people who were saying, well, my spiritual vibe is so high that I'm just not concerned about the virus. And the virus is saying, I can see how you might think that, but bam, okay, you are now in the hospital.
Right, 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 right,
Okay. So there are things that we get into thinking that we're spiritual, okay, that really lead us down these dangerous paths. But
right.
that's part of the learning too. I
That's
think
that's
that
that's sometimes like the stumbling or maybe going in that dark spiritual dark alley is part of the journey, right? Is that
yeah, yeah, I think we are all sparks of a vastness that is so vast. Sometimes it's not sure who it is. So it sends out these sparks that incarnate, then become us. And the whole challenge is experiencing the vastness,
mm,
everything.
mm,
Okay. Whether that's looking at, these beautiful flowers or this amazing sunset. You witnessed the eclipse a few weeks ago.
yeah,
Um,
it was gorgeous. Oh my
you
God,
know,
gorgeous.
or finding myself in an alleyway being being beat up and mugged. Okay. But those are experiences
Yeah,
that allows the greater spirit to see all of itself. You
yeah,
know, the dark and the light are just two sides of the same thing. When you think about it, every light casts a shadow,
right.
and we fear the shadows, we fear the darkness. Okay. But if you look at the lesson that's being shown to us each and every day, okay, The light is followed by the dark. The dark is followed by the light.
Mhm.
Every light casts a shadow. Every shadow has its source in a light.
Mhm.
Okay. There is not this changing of, it's like, oh my God, it's got to be all light. Okay. Um, your life would be very boring if it was light every hour of the day, or if you didn't have some worry. Then you haven't failed in your spirituality because you now have a doubt,
Mm,
or you're
mm,
going through some hardship that you had no control over
mm.
in the first place. Okay. My staff, when I was working, used to look at me cross-eyed when I'd say to them, everything that you have right now can be taken away from you.
So true.
The only thing that can't be taken away from you is yourself.
Mm,
Okay. So, you know, do not identify yourself with your job or your property
right.
or your wealth. Okay. Because that's not you. And if you start stripping things away, okay. I am a regional manager. I am a father. I am um, the president of blah, blah, blah. Okay. If you start stripping those things away, okay, now you're down to I am Robert. I am a 73-year-old man. If I strip that away, okay, and keep stripping away all of those labels, the only thing I can come up with is I am.
Mm, mm, mm.
Okay.
Yeah. Just for our listeners or viewers, for folks who don't know, like, Robert is also a teacher, and Robert's been my spiritual teacher, and I always I always go back to Robert because Robert always gives me sort of like a spiritual slap in the head, like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Which is really good. And so I, because sometimes I need that reminder about, like, I am, right. Like I can sort of do this, or I can sort of like manifest this. And so, I have a to sort of go back to how we sort of started, like, how, because I think you said that you grew up in the church. Like, how do you distinguish between like a spiritual practice and sort of religion, right? Because I sort of feel like those two are different. And then sort of like your spiritual journey, because again, like you've been sort of a teacher to me, and I've been in your workshops, and I guess I want you to sort of speak a little bit to that stuff, kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think of religion as a set of fixed beliefs. Okay. And it doesn't matter what religion it is. Okay. You have to believe X, Y, and Z. Otherwise, you are unorthodox. You are a heretic. You are damned to hell. You are whatever. Okay.
Right, right, right.
Um, and spirituality is a direct connection between the my I am
Hmm,
and the greater I am.
hmm, hmm,
Okay. So when you're when you're walking out to get in your car early in the morning, which I used to do when I was driving from my home in Castleton to my work in Barrie, which is about a 75-minute drive one way. Okay, so I would leave early in the morning um, because just to avoid the traffic. Okay, but I remember one morning walking out and just happening to look up at the sky, and I think it was Hale Bopp, the comet, was going over at the
okay.
time. Okay, now I had seen this fuzzy star, several mornings, you know, kind of thing, and it's like I don't know what planet that is. I don't know, but blah, 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 kind of thing. Well, this morning I saw the comet with the tail. Okay. And I don't know how long I stood there staring at it, kind of thing, just awestruck. Okay. And I got this overwhelming feeling of how small I was in the
Mm,
universe.
mm,
Okay. And there were bigger things going on around me than, you know, and they didn't care about me. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And in that same moment, there was this other realization that in all of that vastness, I am unique.
Mm,
There's only one me.
mm,
There's only one spirit that can be me. And so I too have a place in this vastness. Okay. You know, I didn't earn it. I didn't do any like spiritual, enlightenment practices to get there. It's just my part of being part of the bigger picture. And so you got these two things running in your mind, how small you are
mm,
and how unique you are.
yeah, yeah.
And I got to work and I was talking to our attorney, and he had had the same experience that morning. He and
Mm,
I were, I always used to like tease him that he was 40 days older than me, but we were in the same age group, different backgrounds altogether, kind of thing. But we had come to that same realization.
mm,
He said, I stood there looking at this comet, realizing how small I was.
mm,
And at the same time, there's only one me,
right.
kind of thing. So we had had the same experience, on this early morning. Um, that I see as real spirituality kind of thing. And it happens to you when you're not really looking for it. I grew up in a Baptist family. My family still, when they send me when they send me cards and stuff, I love them dearly. Okay. But they send me cards and everything is, starts with either God bless you or Jesus loves you, you know. Um, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. But my journey, this, I think my journey really started in junior high.
Huh.
It started with being a camp counselor for the YMCA for a summer program for little kids.
Oh, nice.
It was like a day program.
Yeah.
Okay. And we would take these kids to one of those state parks every day. So they had this bus ride. And being, the spiritual creature that I thought I was, okay, I would read my Bible, okay, because I'm working for the um, YMCA, Young Men's Christian Association,
I
kind of
love
thing.
it.
So I have to read my Bible, and I'm reading the Bible, and I'm like, just there's a lot of contradictions
Mm,
here. This says one thing, and this part says another, kind of thing. So it's like, well, maybe it's just this Protestant Bible.
mm, mm,
Okay. So I started looking at Catholicism, kind of thing. And, it's like all of the dogma and all of, kind of thing. And, I spent a lot of time in the library, um, you know, reading um, the catechisms, those kinds of things. It's like, okay, well, that's interesting, but maybe the Orthodox, the Eastern Orthodox, has the answers, since that seems to be the older part of Christianity.
Mm,
Okay.
mm,
And it's like, okay, there's a lot of parallel stuff here. Really, the differences come down to mm, what we believe the nature of Christ to be, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, let's step back because all of this came out of Judaism. So let's take a look at that.
right.
Okay, I'm not getting a sense of the severity, okay, that people would like to tell us, the Ten Commandments are blah, 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 blah. And it's like you start reading these little subtle commentaries by the various rabbis, over the years. And it's like, God is really wanting us to enjoy our lives,
Mm, mm,
and provides us with all of these things that are designed to give us pleasure. Okay. And really, the whole idea here is to respect the environment around you, to respect other people. Okay. And it's like, okay, this is sounding a little better. Let's see what Islam is doing. Okay. And again, you get into, people who are telling you that it's this, and this,
mm.
and you read the Quran and you go, that's not what I'm seeing, you know, Allah saying.
Mm, mm, mm,
Okay.
mm.
This is and then you begin to think, all of this is interpreted through man.
Right. I'll have to agree with you on that one. Because I also went to church a lot as a kid. Catholic and then Protestant, and it was the talking at me that I think I struggled
Yeah,
with.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then uh, I got taken to a church. What was it called? It was the institute, or I don't know, I don't remember, tabernacle or whatever, kind of the divine metaphysics. Okay. And it was a group that had actually been developed in my hometown. I didn't know this until a few years ago. Okay. That, I had touched this group. But anyway, um, one of the teachings, one of the things that minister was saying in this was that God speaks to people in a language and a symbolism that they will understand.
Mm, mm.
The reason there are so many different religions in the world is that. Okay. So, if I'm a Jewish man, okay, and God says to me, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into heaven. I understand that, except that the translation is wrong. It's easier for a rope to go through the eye of a needle. Nice, okay. The camel obviously gives you a bigger image, but still, it's the same thing. It's
Yeah.
easier for that than for a rich man because the rich man is so caught up in his possessions that he can't see anything else.
Right.
Okay. It goes back to what I was saying earlier. I have so identified with um, my possessions that I've forgotten who I am,
Right.
you know? So there was that. His also showing a diagram that showed how the temple, the Temple of Solomon related to the parts of the body. It was all very interesting stuff. Okay. For some reason whatsoever, I think around the same time I was doing American history in school and got caught up on the Salem witch trials.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So again, my hours in the library, okay, I read Sir Reginald Scott's The Discovery of Witchcraft, which is basically this manual for witch hunters, how to identify a witch, what their practices are, blah, blah, blah. That just led me down all sorts of rabbit holes.
Mm,
Okay.
mm,
And as I waded through stuff, I kept getting this sense that the underlying message of all of this, whether it's non-injury in Hinduism and Buddhism, whether it's the golden rule in Christianity, whether it's almsgiving in Islam, it all comes down to the same thing.
mm.
Okay. God wants us to love one another
Yeah. Yeah.
and to take care of each other.
Right.
Okay. It's not for some external power to do it. We have to do it ourselves.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. And so this again, it comes back to I will hold you lovingly in this space. And I don't care what you do. Okay. I'm going to hold you in this loving space and provide you with what you need to walk your path. And hopefully, eventually, you will come to understand that it's all about love.
Yeah.
It's all about you caring about somebody else enough to slap them upside the head, okay, and say, snap out of it, you know,
Which you've done to
enough
me a couple of times.
enough to say, you know what, let's forget about the worrying. Okay. There isn't anything we can do right now to change any of that. Let's sit down and have a good meal together
Mm.
and laugh and talk and enjoy things and make jokes and
Yeah.
taking care of each other. Okay. It's about not hanging up the phone when my good friend Michael calls me at 9 o'clock, 9:30 at night, telling me that he has a fever and he doesn't know what to do. Okay. It's about Robert shifting into mother mode and saying, take 2 aspirin and go to bed. Okay. When you wake up, take your temperature again. Okay. If it's gone up, get your ass to the hospital. If it's gone down, take 2 more aspirin and go back to bed. Okay. All right. But, it's like, why, instead of saying, why are you calling me? You know, it's about, okay, somebody has turned to me for help.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. I have a choice. I can give it, or I can tell them to go pound sand, you know?
And which is brings me to my next question is like, do you feel like, because sometimes, on my spiritual journey, because I have a similar journey to yours, and sort of coming to my sort of spiritual practice, like it's been very lonely and always trying to find community. Like in your journey, I found it, at least I think maybe because where I live, because for folks who don't know, I live in Vermont, and there isn't like, trying to find community, you really have to like search for it. Do you feel like a spiritual practice can be a solo thing, or do you think it can be in community, or with others, or
Yes.
yeah, 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 yes to all of it, or
Yes. Yes to all of it. Yes to all of it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think like right now, I find myself on this solo journey, and I think it's because of the times that we live in. Okay,
Mm,
I find myself wanting to withdraw from
mm,
being a human.
mm,
Okay,
mm,
because
mm,
the ugliness of humanity is showing its face right now. Okay, on all levels, kind of thing. I was just thinking after hearing, the two idiots who were running for president, set up their debates. All I could think of was either get you got two school bullies, okay, who are, trying to out bully each other,
mm.
kind of thing. And I'm not sure that I want either of them as president, but that's an aside. Uh, but but
That's for another conversation.
yeah, that's a different conversation altogether. But I find myself turning inward, kind of thing. And that's a solo journey.
Mm, right.
Okay. No one else can go in there, kind of thing. Only me.
Mm,
Again, it's the I am trying to figure out what's going on.
mm, mm,
Okay. And what I could possibly do about it.
mm,
Okay. So there's that solo kind of search. You may find people, again, it's the solo search of I'm going from book to book in the library, from faith to faith, you know, maybe even visiting churches and temples and all of those kinds of things, trying to find the voice of God,
mm, mm, mm,
trying to find the community.
mm,
Okay. And I think you see that in both places. You can certainly seek out a community. You can well, it's like there's a song that says you go your way and I will go mine and I'll meet you when we get there. Okay? It's about people having different paths that lead to the same place.
mhm,
Okay? So you can either start with the community and find your spiritual path, or you can start your solo journey that leads you to a community that's also on your path.
mhm, mhm,
Okay. So I think, your search can be part of the path. It can also be a stumbling block.
mm, mm,
Okay. I was reading something and I think I shared this with you. I was reading this book, and the author was talking about what he calls seek sickness.
mm,
Okay, which is basically people searching and searching and searching and searching and never realizing that they walked right by what it was they were looking for,
yeah.
or that what they were looking for was inside them all the time.
Mm, mm,
You know, and I mean, I've seen people who will come to a workshop and immediately tell you how many different people they have studied with, and it's like, well, some of these are big name heavy hitters. Hanging, why are you hanging out with me? If they didn't teach you anything, you know, I'm not sure what I can give you,
mm,
and then you realize that it's not about that. It's this person is
mm,
searching, okay, and they're so caught up in I've studied with so and so, and I've studied with so and so, and I've studied with so and so, that they're missing all of the teachings that have been given to them by each one of those people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It's like, it's that you know, I, I, it just, I'm just having this thought right now. It's back to what we were talking about originally. I still have suffering in my life. I
Hmm.
still have doubts in my life. I still have these dark moments in my life. Therefore, I haven't reached my spiritual goal. I haven't reached my true spirituality. I'm trying to be this being of light. I'm trying to be, this good person, but all of this stuff keeps happening. So there must be something wrong.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. And that just hit me that that seeks sickness is basically arising out of that,
Hmm.
this false narrative that we have around spirituality, that once you're enlightened,
Yeah.
you know it's a smooth path.
Which I think sort of like, that spiritual bias, right? Where like I'm only viewing it in a particular way, or assuming that my spiritual practice has to be sort of like this, like beautiful light and clean
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
journey.
yeah, yeah. I think I'm not sure if it was I'm not sure if it was the writings of the Dalai Lama or some other Buddhist text I was reading, but it talked about um, the Buddha getting angry. It talked about the Buddha dying of old age, and you know, the difference was that he understood it was all part of the ever-changing nature of existence,
Mm.
kind of thing. So yeah, I'm angry today because you people have you people have been abusing these other people. Where's your compassion?
Mhm.
What have I been teaching you? It's like, okay, calm down. Let me get my shit back together. I'm the Buddha after all, you know. But it's this, I'm not supposed to get angry. I'm not supposed to get sad. I'm not supposed to cry. I'm not I'm not supposed to be sick. My vibe is too great for viruses to touch me.
Mm.
Well, guess what? Guess what? You know, the viruses can touch you.
Right,
You can get angry.
right, right,
You can get sad. Um, that doesn't mean that you have failed.
right.
It's just that the journey continues. The journey doesn't stop until we leave this life. It's like, okay, my my goal, which was to experience everything there is to experience, well, everything that I'm capable of experiencing. Okay. And now it's time to give up this body, go back to the source, report in, and maybe take another trip out
Right,
or not,
right,
but I didn't have to do anything special to get the or not.
right,
It's my choice,
right.
and it's like, oh, okay, I experienced that. Now I'd like to go experience, I'd like to go experience life as a cat now. I just want to lie on a sunny windowsill and have people feed me,
I
and
love I
I'll
love
do
that. I love that
and
image.
I'll do whatever it is I want to do or not, and sometimes I'll let them pick me up, and sometimes I'll take a big chunk out of their face with my claws, because I'm a cat. This is what
I
I
could do
do,
that.
you know. Um, you know, I want to experience that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I want to experience being a deer in the woods,
Right, right.
okay? And wandering from place to place, understanding that I'm a prey animal
Mm-hmm.
and that something might come along and try to eat me at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I want the challenge of being chased. I want the challenge of being able to outwit them, I
Mm-hmm.
eat all of that.
Yeah.
Or I want to come back as a crusty old man again, you know, slapping younger people upside the head when they get out of hand. Um, yeah, I mean, we have a choice.
Right, right,
We have
right.
a choice, you know, or you know,
Yeah,
or my other choice is I'm going to stay in the spiritual realm and work from this side,
right, right. Yeah, yeah.
kind of thing. So I'm going to be that little voice in Eshan's ear, just at the moment when he's doubting himself the most, that says, you know, you could always do X, just a suggestion,
Yes, yeah.
and Eshan going, am I losing my mind? Something just speak to me, or you know, uh, but that, I mean,
Right, right.
I'm joking, but
No,
I'm
but
not.
it's serious. That, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
just,
joking, but
yeah,
I'm not,
yeah,
kind of thing. Don't, we don't allow ourselves to hear,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
you know, what is being said to us, you know, moment to moment kind of thing. Again, I talk about,
Mm,
the experience with the comet, or you with your experience with the eclipse, is like there's a voice speaking to me at this moment, and it's speaking in a language that is not words, but I hear it clearly.
yeah, yeah.
I hear it clearly. I understand the message. I don't even have to really think about it. The message is like bam, you know. And we don't give ourselves that. We don't allow ourselves to that. It's like I either have to sit in the church and let the minister tell me
Yeah,
what it is I'm supposed to believe or I'm supposed to be doing.
right.
Uh, I have to undergo some rigorous spiritual austerity, sitting on a mountain someplace, starving myself to death, kind of thing. And all the time thinking I would love a Snickers bar,
Right, right,
you know, kind of
right.
thing, because I'm not into it.
Yeah,
Somebody told me I had to do this.
right.
Okay. And I'm not into it. Whereas I could also decide I need to go on a 3 week camping trip out in the middle of nowhere by myself, forage for my food and water, and just sit and listen.
Right, right.
Okay, because I need to get away from people and outside influences and just let spirit speak to me. And the only way I can possibly do that maybe is to be alone in the woods.
So we're gonna have to get ready to end. And so I guess two things and sort of advice or something tangible that, folks could do to sort of either start their journey, or, a resource that they could like tap into. What do you think? I'm all about books. So I usually like my first go to is like, I wonder if there's a book out there about that. So I'm, like for sort of wrapping up, what are sort of like your sort of go-to advice?
I first is recognize that you have spiritual authority over your own life.
Yeah, nice.
Okay. Nobody can tell you what your spirituality is. Okay. Second advice, yes, I like books too.
Yeah.
And there isn't one book that I would recommend. I would recommend searching.
Mhm.
Start with something that catches your attention, whether it's oh God, I'm sorry, I can't remember the author's name, Margot something. Um, Great. Now the title of the book just see, this is what happens when you get old. Okay. The title of the book just escaped me. Oh, The Spiral Dance.
Oh, Spiral Dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um,
I think
you
I
know,
may have
which is a overview of Wicca.
yeah, yeah. I think I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, get yourself a, a copy of the Bible and read it. Read it. And read it like a novel. Criticize it, analyze it, tear it apart,
Yeah. Yeah.
argue with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Same with the Quran. They're great English translations of the Quran. Read it. You know, um, there is there is an author. I don't have his book. Mark Gaffney has written several books. He is a um, I don't know what the term is, but he's basically a defrocked rabbi.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think we've had
Okay.
conversations about him, if I remember correctly.
Forget about him.
Yeah, yeah,
Read his books,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because
yes.
this is something that I found too, is that you know there are some terrible people out there who have been conduits of some amazing,
Mm, mm,
inspiring
mm.
material.
Yeah,
So forget about the author, check out the books. Okay. And he's got several out. Um, but I would read his books. Ken Wilber's books as
mm,
well. He's a depth psychologist,
mm.
but he's written and a philosopher, and he's written all sorts of books, um, kind of thing. Just let your search take you where it will take you.
Yeah,
Okay, be led. You may run into people
right.
along the way. Okay, just listen to what they have to say.
Mhm.
You'll know the fakes.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
You will know the fakes,
It's
and you
true.
will know people who are authentic, who truly believe what it is they're trying to do. Okay, but do not. I get back to my first thing. Do not cede your spiritual authority to any of them.
Yeah,
Okay, it's like, I am your guru, and you must do exactly what I tell you to do. I can see how you might think that, but you are my teacher, and I will take the lessons that I learned from you and apply them as my spirit tells me to apply them.
yeah.
There's a difference there. I remember having students who were very much into yoga, and wanted to you know kiss my feet,
Oh, oh,
kneel kneel before the guru, and pay homage. It's like, I would reach down and lift them up and say, don't ever do that. Approach me as a brother, an uncle, grandfather, however, you know, approach me as family and as an equal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm here to teach you, but don't, give me a hug instead of that,
Right, 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 right.
say, but I understand the process. I understand the culture that it came from.
Yeah,
I, you know, I honor it, but it's not, don't apply it to me.
yeah,
Um, and again, I think those are things that will help people get to and looking for communities. There's nothing wrong with stopping in on various, I mean, again, it's like, okay, I grew up in the Baptist church, but when I went to an Episcopal service, um, there were certain parts of it that I found very moving.
mm,
Okay. Um, there were, the experience of going to a Pentecostal church with, you know, the music and the dancing and, kind of thing is very much different from a Methodist service kind of thing. There's something in all of them.
right.
Sitting in a Methodist church, listening to an organist on a balcony above you playing Bach and letting that echo through the whole church, as everybody's just sitting in silence, is a spiritual experience.
Yeah,
Okay. They're out there. So explore, go to a Buddhist retreat,
yeah,
go to go to a silent retreat kind of thing. See if you can keep your mouth shut for however long you know, these are all things that will help you develop your spirituality and understand what's going on with you.
yeah,
Again, don't be afraid of the dark. Don't be afraid of the shadow. It's just, if you look at the shadow, turn around and see where the light is that's causing it.
yeah, yeah,
You know, if you're staring at the light and it's blinding you, turn around and see what shape it's taking in its shadow.
yeah.
You know, um, watch the sunrise, watch the stars come out at night.
Mhm, mhm.
You know, I I mean, walk in the woods, go to the heart of the city, listen to the traffic, look at the buildings, see did you realize that there's a hawk living on top of that building? Okay. Did you
Mhm.
see how the pigeons, um, you know, the hawk is now flying. You see how the pigeons stay above it until it rises to the level that it can attack, and they all suddenly go to roost.
Right.
Do you notice that? It's going on in the city. I saw it in Burlington, Vermont.
Mm, mm.
Sitting in my office, looking out the window, and it's like, what's going on? Oh, there's a peregrine falcon out there. Oh, isn't that interesting that the pigeons are all staying above it until it finished its spiral and got above them. And then say, where did they all go?
Mm. Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah,
these kinds of things are going on around you. Watching flocks of crows come in to a roost at night, thousands and thousands of them
yeah,
filling up bare trees, okay, is a spiritual experience.
yeah, yeah.
It's just like, where are they all coming from and how do they all know to go here, that
Right.
they'll be safe for the night, that they'll
Yeah.
be warm for the night? How do they know these things? These are the questions that take you that next step.
Nice.
Okay. There are also those surprises. I realize you're going to try to cut me off, but And one more thing, there are also people that will show up in your life.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
I refer to them as psychopomps, and
Yeah.
this is another realm that you can go down. But they show up just long enough to give you a piece of information that will lead you on the next leg of your quest. So I guess if I had anything to say as far as giving advice is be open to what's coming at you.
Mhm. Nice. Well, thank you so much, Robert, for giving me some of your time and some of your wisdom and experience. I really appreciate it.
And I'll keep playing with cameras to see if I can actually get it to work
Yeah,
at
because
some point.
I do want to sort of have you back again because again like I said earlier, there's sort of like a sequence of sort of general topics that I sort of want to cover in the
Hmm.
sense of mental health, this a sense of spiritual practice and the self-care. And I feel like all of those they all intertwine and sort of weave in and out of each other.
Yeah.
But I think having an understanding or sort of some sort of insight on each one specifically on how they can be beneficial for a person's life or a person's practice, I think is important. So thank you so much, Robert, and I'm
Yep.
I'm definitely gonna have you back again.
Okay.
See
Take
ya.
care. Yep.